Welcome back to Mega Man Zero. Last time, we climbed up the final shaft to the Neo Arcadian core, and today, we're gonna take down X. Or the copy of him, anyway. So yeah, before we go, CL gives us, not a goodbye, because we're gonna see her again. Even if you cannot destroy Neo Arcadia, I just want you to be able to return. I really like this dynamic. You don't see this a lot in games, I don't think, where characters just really want you to be safe. But don't worry, you're Zero, you're too cool to die. So welcome to Neo Arcadian Core. Excellent song, relatively simple stage, but this is a Mega Man game, so you know full well what we're about to do. We got some regular Pantheons here, but yep, once you see these doors, it's boss rush time. We get a set of 4 bosses, and then another 4 later on. We don't actually fight every single boss in the game, and some of them might actually be a surprise. By which I mean one of them. So, since we have the boss refight, I think the weaknesses are self-explanatory, and you'll finally get to see what it looks like when you tear these bosses to shreds. Elemental weaknesses in this game really help. They take out so much more HP, and they frequently, either stun bosses or get them into a better position. Like Anubis here, you can immediately get him into the wall phase, which is real easy to dodge. And it also removes any of his extras that he adds, so that's cool. No zombies is nice. But since we have a little bit of time, because I'll just be shredding through these bosses, I'd like to talk about a New Game Plus, because I'm not gonna do a bonus episode. I know the one from the old LP is probably pretty dated. I mean, I know it sounds like shit, both for mic quality and for my voice quality, but I simply don't want to do more grinding in this game, even though I'd probably only need to do, one more playthrough, or really even use, Action Replay or something. I don't feel like it, so I'll just describe it real quick. So, when starting a new game, obviously, as I've said before, you can just start a regular New Game Plus, where you keep everything except for weapon levels, which is unfortunate. However, there are a few other things about starting a new game. For one, there is a hard mode to this game. If you hold down the left shoulder button, you will get hard mode. So in hard mode, if I remember correctly, even if you are lower than rank A or S, you still get the EX attacks from bosses, so that's something to look out for. Oh, and here's the surprise. Hercules here is back, even though he was technically one of the tower bosses. He's here to fight us, so we're gonna put him on ice. And he's gonna be even easier than he was before. Anyway though, right, so the important part of hard mode is the fact that weapons don't gain levels in hard mode, which obviously adds a lot of difficulty. And you might also remember, that makes it next to impossible to use elemental weaknesses in hard mode, because pretty much all of your weapons do need some amount of levels in order to charge, and therefore, in order to use elements. With one exception, the shield boomerang. I did try to draw attention to that earlier when we got the shield boomerang, that it charges immediately, and that's pretty much why. It is one of your best tools in hard mode, because it's the only way you'll be able to deal elemental damage to things, so make sure to get used to that, or you are going to be taking, well, about as long, well actually no, even longer than I was for bosses in this run, because, you know, even though I didn't have elemental weaknesses, you know, as a self-imposed challenge, the fact of the matter is I still had a lot of tools, like the rolling slash you get for your jump, which is just incredible and helps a lot. Yeah, you don't get that either in hard mode. Now, the other thing I want to mention, though, is a hidden cyber elf. That is the main thing I'd be doing in a bonus mode, is getting that, but again, I don't feel like it. So, the extra cyber elf is Jackson. Jackson you can get by either beating the regular difficulty with all Cyber Elves unlocked and upgraded but not used. You can't use any of them. And by doing so, you unlock Jackson. Now, the thing is... Oh, this jump sucks, by the way. Make sure to do a charge shot before you jump, or that guy will hit you. This is an excellent shortcut, though you do want to do this. I'm killing fewer enemies, but you know what? Screw it. I want to go faster. But anyway, yeah. On hard mode, you also have to make sure you always get A or S ranks for each mission to get Jackson there as well. So it is, of course, a little harder to do it in that mode. Jackson himself is a fairly useful Cyber Elf. This is our Guardian refights, by the way. You probably could have guessed, because, you know, there's 4 of them. But anyway, yeah. Basically, Jackson, you hold the jump button for 10 seconds, and you get 45 seconds of invulnerability, though you can still fall into a pit. I don't remember if you can jump on spikes, though. The description isn't very good for it, it's just hold jump button for supremacy. But yeah, no, you have to hold it for a few seconds, and then you're mostly immortal. In a regular game, the grinding you have to do for that is 1,500 for his first evolution, and 3,000 for second. And there's one more unlockable on top of that. In normal or hard mode, if you've completed the game with Jackson fully upgraded, if you start a new game while holding the R button, you get to play Ultimate Mode. This is the only way you start the game with weapons maxed out, and you don't need to use Cyber Elves to get their effects, you just have them automatically. Meaning you just steamroll this entire game. It is Ultimate Mode because you will absolutely thrash everything, and as a note, I don't know if this is how it works for the Switch version, but the DS actually had a Mega Man Zero collection, an older one than the Switch version, which had a story playthrough mode, which basically just gave you, like, Ultimate Mode for every game. By the way, I didn't mention it, I felt it was fairly obvious, but Fefnir does kind of have a battle aura. You're not going to see it as much here, because I'm kicking his ass, but basically that powers up all his attacks, so that does get better if he's got his aura active. But he's dead simple in this version. When you have his weakness, he dies. Which, you know, I can relate to that person I got my name from. If I'm hit by my weakness, I'd also probably die. Alright, 2 more Guardians. So next off is Leviathan, who we're also going to destroy. Yeah, Harpuya is even easier with his weakness. Fefnir's dead simple. And then you add his weakness on top of that. Leviathan, also super simple with her weakness. Really, Phantom might be one of the most difficult of all the Guardians just because he doesn't have a weakness, so you really can't destroy him like you can everybody else. But yeah, right, the DS collection does just let you play through all the stories in a row with all of the upgrades. Obviously, you can play each one separately if you want an actual challenge, but the story mode's kinda nice if you just want a quick and easy way to play through the Zero series, which, you know, you might wanna. It's a fun game to play through. Fun bunch of games to play through. But yeah, that's it for bonus stuff. You've got a bunch of different New Game Plus options, including making the game way harder or way easier. But you do have to put in extra work if you want to make the game easier. Making the game harder, you just have to make sure you've completed it once and you're fine. Alright, and here we have Phantom. Like I said, we've got nothing to make this go any faster, so hopefully he doesn't use his EX attack. Everybody else, you can kind of just destroy them fast enough that it's not even a concern, and it's really not a concern for Leviathan, because she does not get the iframes anybody else does. Phantom doesn't have a lot of iframes, but he has just enough to make sure that you do have to put up with his attack. Alright, so far so good, but we're pretty much at the threshold where he'll do a thing. Don't remember how this fight goes for me. Okay, yeah, he got the EX attack. I mean, you can hit him here, but it's so easy for him to hit you at this point. Yeah, oof, I'm surprised I didn't take a hit there or there. Like, he's very finicky, but also Rolling Slash is kind of turning him into confetti. Also, dang, good pose you got there, buddy. You're the only one who's gotten something like that. And well, that's actually for a reason. He is a boss that has a gimmick. It's not the last Guardian you get, it's always Phantom, but he will try to explode, taking you with him. Hopefully he's on one side of the screen, so that's a lot easier to dodge, like it was here. Yeah, that attack didn't do anything, Phantom. Sorry, you died for nothing. Also, even if that kills you, I think that still counts as a death for him, so you can move on as long as you have extra lives. So, I guess if you mess up or didn't see that one coming, you aren't... I mean, yeah, you are actually kind of punished severely for it. It's not a one-hit kill or anything, but if you're low enough on HP, which you might be, that can be fatal. Would be really bullshit if it were a one-hit kill. Because, like, given the number of points you lose for using a retry, yeah, if you're looking for a good rank, you don't use the checkpoints of this game. Which is honestly why I'm so good at this. Oh, I talk like I'm an expert. I'm not, but I do pretty well for myself, whereas a lot of people struggle with this game. Like I said, I find the classic games harder, but that's just because I grew up with these, so I've had muscle memory beaten into me by myself and my own hubris. Also, hey, guess what? Phantom's dead. He's just permanently dead. He blew himself up, and now he's dead forever. None of the other Guardians seem too concerned by this, but man, they did really want to fight us. But there they go. So here he is in the flesh, metal. It's X. I mean, he looks about as normal as you can look in the Zero series as compared to X. It's a much different art style, therefore anybody's gonna look a bit different. Wow, damn. This X is really full of himself. I'm sorry, Copy X, I've seen exactly one human and she's miserable. Once again, the game goes out of its way to not really show you any humans unless they're important. But here it's, it definitely feels like they utilize that a lot better. Because it definitely feels like humanity is... Yeah, no, they're living life in a desolate wasteland, but they're living it well, because so many Reploids have to die for it. You are so funny. Also, I hate to ruin this for anybody else, but, I do imagine Copy X here speaking like Torgo from Monos The Hands of Fate. I don't know why, I just think it fits for him. So, X here, very nimble. Biggest problem is him kinda just moving right into you. Honestly, that's a problem with a lot of the harder bosses of the Zero series. You've got a lot of room in the battlefield, but honestly, keep X in your sights at all times. He will change up elements, and that changes up his charged attacks. So pay attention to what he does. Those are tracking shots, that's healing, that's his EX attack. I'm gonna have to put a fucking seizure warning in for this, an epilepsy warning rather. But yeah, fire's pretty easy to dodge because it's just an arcing shot. Ice is very tricky though, as is Elec, because that can definitely maneuver you into a bad position. Also, don't you worry, he can only use his healing attack once. Once he's done that, he's done with it. Also, yeah, his basic attack in his null form is very easy to dodge. Kinda hard to tell what his null form is as compared to his ice form, which is a bit of a problem because, again, the ice shot's a bit tricky to dodge. Yeah, so I have amnesia, but even I know that you suck ass. What? No, he's not. He was a wimp. Shut up. I'm so powerful. Check this shit out. I can become a Capcom final boss. Here I go. That wasn't at all Torgo's voice. So sorry, I didn't commit to my own bit. So, here's the guy who's going to kill the ever-loving hell out of you if you're not ready for him. Say hello to Angel X. Yeah, that is now a bottomless pit at the side of the screen. So, he's going to drop halos on you. If you get caught by them, then you are basically stuck to the ground. and you have to wiggle your way out of it. It doesn't do damage, which is nice. However, if he uses that attack and you're over the pit, you die immediately. So, whenever you're trying to attack him, make sure to be careful or it's instant death. That right there was his EX attack. That is there to really mess with you because you have to not attack him because your only real means of reaching him is taken away and used as an attack against you. And yeah, I'm really bad at dodging them here. He fires them where you are, so what you want to do is kind of move over incrementally in order to try and avoid them without getting caught by them. And yeah, the fire attack is very easy, but man, he keeps leading off into this attack, so do have to be wary of that. I do find it harder to dodge the halos during this attack, so my advice is try to keep to the center once the platforms have passed, so that even if you do get caught, you can pretty reliably avoid anything else. And of course the laser attack depends on where you are, so that's another one you want to guide. Basically be at one side of the room, when he starts firing, go to the other side, and that's a really hard fight, but he doesn't have the most HP. He can kill you very quickly, but as long as you're on the ball, you can kill him quickly too. Just not in one hit, which is distinctly unfair. So anyway, this somehow didn't scare the ever-loving hell out of me when I was a kid, and I don't know how, because frankly that is very disturbing. I think you can even see a little bit of blood. Like, I'm not entirely sure if the bit beneath his eye is supposed to be blood. They did remove that from most versions, of course, but that portrait might have a little bit hidden there. Could also just be glowing light from his eye as well. They could be trying to emphasize that. So we've defeated Copy-X, meaning Neo Arcadia's without a leader, but he's a spiteful little bastard, so he's trying to self-destruct us. All dangerous elements? Well, guess what? Zero's too dangerous to be eliminated by an explosion. Trust me, Phantom already tried that, and he's dead now. So I didn't know what you thought you'd do. I mean, I guess if there was an escape sequence, that would have definitely been an extra wrinkle. And we get a bit of a monologue from X here. So yeah, even if X isn't the actual villain, I think the fact that he actually has a pretty understandable story arc does actually make a difference in most people's eyes. I, at the very least, do accept this, that even if X didn't become evil, fighting alone for so long, he did lose the last bit of will he had to fight, which was always thin as it was. I don't know what happened to Axel. I don't want to think about it. He didn't particularly exist to the Mega Man Zero team, of course, because Axel was a late addition to X7 and 8, so I'm guessing the team wasn't really thinking about him at the time. But there's an extra tragedy on top of that. Zero vanished, Axel probably died, and X just couldn't handle it anymore. And X has to go rest because, well, he's just a cyber elf now. So now, it's Zero who has to fight alone. But that's fine. That's practically what Zero was made for. When an enemy appears, he'll terminate it. And so he does. What, you didn't think that was gonna be a Oblivion Army ending, did ya? It's just Pantheons, he's fine. So, that is the end of Mega Man Zero. So, I gotta say, I am way ahead in recording, because it's much easier to record this game than an RPG. So I'm much further ahead than I was during Command Mission. So, having gotten a little farther in Zero 2, I gotta say, I do respect Zero 1 a lot. Given there's only 4 games, I don't think the Zero series ever became quite as formulaic as some of the other Mega Man series, but at the same time, 2 through 4 definitely seem more normal to the series at large than 1 does, but I really love it for that. It's a lot of weird experimentation which makes the game feel more unique and actually feeds into the story pretty well. Like, yeah, of course we're not fighting bosses in the same way as we normally do by, like, picking them from a menu and specifying which one you want to fight. We don't have that technology. We don't have the opportunity to do that. The Resistance is just hiding in a hole in the ground, hoping to not be killed by Neo Arcadia. Like, this is just a game about Zero defending people who are on their last legs. So he just has to go down the list of missions they have and cover all that. And again, I've played this game a lot, so maybe it's just muscle memory speaking, but I kinda dig it, honestly. Even though it's only the first one, I like it a lot. I think it's pretty fun, and I think it's an excellent first game in the series. Like, it's weird, but they make the fact that it's weird work so well in its favor. And it's not, like, bad weird. I think it's entirely playable. And quite fun when you get down to it. It's just, you know, less of a comfortable pattern than you get in most Mega Man games of just select your stage, you know what you're fighting in terms of what they look like, and you can kind of strategize around that. You don't have that here. So either you play the game fresh, or you go in knowing what you're doing. But there's no guessing game of what you have to fight against, and I think that's cool. So I'm not the biggest fan of actively utilizing cyber elves. I do think it's an interesting dynamic where, like, you can make this game really easy at the cost of a rank, or a bunch of ranks, really. You trash your rank if you ever use cyber elves, but, like, it is kind of cool that the dynamic that makes overall, like, if you feel bad about killing cyber elves or having a low rank, and most people will probably be in one or both of those camps, you have this game about an old Reploid who has to overcome all odds, who's very fragile at this point, and you kind of have to get by with skill. And I think that's very cool. And I think future games in this series are also pretty cool in how they change the dynamic and make things different in how each game sort of quote-unquote upgrades. And I got a perfect 100 somehow. Don't know how that worked, but whatever, I'll fucking take it. Anyway though, we will see how the series continues next time on Mega Man Zero 2. I am actually kind of sad to see this game go. I'm gonna miss it. It's a good one.